This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Buckland Farm. But before that, this video is brought to you by Blair Topolnicki and Froby. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Buckland Farm map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Buckland Farm, based on a real-life location in Somerset. This map includes 3 farms, cow, sheep, and goat. We have a pig farm as well as a horse farm. There are multiple sell points included on the map, 75 different sized fields, multiple forests, sawmill, and several UK-themed areas. Now, the rest of the description does go on to give credits to various modders that have been included in the map. We'll encourage you to go check that out. I've got a link down in my description to the Giants Mod Hub page for this map, as well as I've replicated the entirety of the description also down in my video description. This map does include 3 required mods. So in addition to the mods we typically use when we take a look at maps, that are additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, animal food overview, and precision farming, we're also going to be making use of the British farmhouses, the L-shaped vehicle shed, as well as the vehicle storage with workshop. Now, we'll tell you, when you load this map up for the very first time, you may notice some warnings and errors in the log. We will be talking about those here in a little bit. In addition, if you load this map up in Farm Manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find all the farms are built out exactly how you're going to see them here in New Farmer mode. You also own all your starting machinery in all play modes. The only real differences between those play modes is the amount of money that you have and the fact that you do not own any land. Now let's go and try to get a good contrast on our log, and let me just scroll up and we'll talk about some of these warnings and errors. First warnings that we're going to come across relate to our starting vehicle machinery. I am in PC, and I also do not use the guidance steering mod with respect to my map tours. What we're seeing here are some warnings related to the global positioning system. So if you are on PC and you do have guidance steering in your mod folder, you're going to find some of the starting vehicles are already equipped for guidance steering. This is not going to add that feature for console players. It is simply going to only work for PC players. And if you don't have guidance steering enabled, you're going to see those warnings show up for the first time that you load this map. The next thing we're going to come up to are some errors, and nobody wants to see errors, especially on maps that have gone through Giants testing. So the first error we're going to come up here to relates to a sheep and goat husbandry. Apparently it's set up as an unknown placeable type. So we may or may not see a small sheep barn pre-placed on the map that we're supposed to see. Or it may not be available as a placeable, or it just may not work properly as a placeable. We have another batch of errors here related to a sell point, where we have an unload trigger grain and unload trigger products error not found with respect to an index. Hopefully this map will be getting updated soon to correct these issues. And now the rest of these warnings really relate to rye textures. So right now the map is looking for rye textures under the Buckland Farm FS22_Buckland Farm, which is the name of the map. Within the map, there's supposed to be a folder called Fill Plains. That folder does not exist. Therefore, all of the textures that are supposedly referenced under that folder obviously do not exist as well. So there are several entries here related specifically to rye textures that are either in the wrong folder path, or for whatever reason, those textures have been removed from the map. Now, I don't know if that is the case or not. I haven't planted rye to see if I get textures. The 3 or 4 times that I've loaded this map up, The AI has not planted rye, so I'm not really sure. But again, in all honesty, watch the video and then decide if maybe you were interested in playing this map after an update. I really would not suggest playing this map before an update because I just am a little bit too hesitant about the warnings and errors. You may not have the best gaming experience. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And as the description said, this is a very UK themed map that you're going to get that gist as we also continue around in both our flyover and our drive-through. This map does include all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22. This includes alfalfa and rye. Take a look at our lands area. We start up by owning farmland ID 1, which is our main starting farm. That is the cow, sheep, goat farm from the description. In addition, we have a BGA over here in town. That is a part of the unbuyable land that we also own at the very start. That can be bought for $0 in any alternate game mode. And then we have a pig farm, which is located right here at farmland ID 40. That can be bought for $42,696. Then we have a horse farm, which is located down here at farmland ID 12. That can be bought for $516,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen shows all of the buyable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included. Then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us? You see we've got fairly large farmlands, 3 to 7 hectares in size. We've got a couple here at 10, field 39, or farmland 39 is going to be 33 hectares in size. It's going to be nearly $2 million. Now, if we take a look at our field calculator screen, this is going to show us all of the specific fields that we own or can buy, how large those specific fields are. Then we can go back and cross-reference the field numbers to the farmland lease screen, and then cross-reference that with the farmland number to see how much any one of these fields is going to cost you to buy. We start up by owning field 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Take a look down through the rest of these fields. Several are 1 to 3 hectares in size, with a few fields approaching up above 10 hectares. Field 72, for example, is 14.46. We do have a custom crop counter available to us, and we can see that listed here. Do note there are no growth schedules for sugar cane or cotton, so there's no plant or harvest schedule for those. But thankfully, we can sell sugarcane and cotton. So if you do play with the crop calendar disabled, you will be able to plant and harvest those crops. Taking a look down through our prices screen, as I mentioned earlier, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 22. In addition, we have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. Taking a look down through all of the base game production items, we do again have the ability to sell all of the base game production items that are available to us in Farm Sim 22. In addition, we do have the ability to buy bulk lime, but one thing that we do not have the ability to do is get rid of our stones. So if you are playing with stones enabled, you will need to put down your own stone processing location. We do have a sell point for rye, but oddly enough, we do not have a sell point for alfalfa. So if you are growing alfalfa, well, you're going to either be doing it to make alfalfa hay, which we can sell, or hopefully we're going to see here in a little bit that our animals are set up to accept alfalfa as an input. This map does not include any sell points for the platinum expansion production items. And if you are playing with pumps and hoses, you will have the ability to get rid of your separated manure. Now, as you have seen, we do have the ability to get rid of our premium expansion production and crops, because again, the way Giants has set this up is anything coded to accept root crops of potatoes and sugar beet is also going to accept our new premium expansion productions and root crops. Taking a look at our vehicle overview, we own all of our starting fleet. None of it is leased, and for the most part, all of it is well maintained. We do not have any animals at the start, even though we have a sheep, cow, and chicken pasture on the main starting farm. We do have contracts available on this map. We also own a medium greenhouse and the BGA at the start, and this map does not have any collectibles. Let's jump back because I did fail to show you all the precision farming soil map. So this map is making use of the French soil map that is a part of the precision farming mod. For those of you that did not know, the French soil map is also the generic soil map. So let's go ahead and see how that is being applied to these fields. As you see, several of the fields that we own at the start are either silty clay, loam, or sandy loam. We've got a big hunk of loamy sand and sandy loam more toward the middle of the map, and toward the top and bottom, we've got a mix of silty clay, loam, and sandy loam once again. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. So in new farmer mode, we're going to be starting out with a Fendt 511C small tractor. We have a Massey Ferguson 7715S medium tractor, the Kloss Tryon 720 harvester. With that harvester, we're going to have the Convaflex 1080 grain header, as well as the Nardi N 6035 grain header. We've got the New Holland TH742 Elite telehandler. We have the 2017 pickup truck, as well as the Karat 140 TD trailer. We have the Vector 570 cultivator, the Terrasim C6F seeder, as well as the Dalbo Power Roll 1230 HD roller. We have the Ponzer Novacat A10 Crossflow butterfly mowers and the Novacat 301 AMED Pro front mower. We have a new Massey Ferguson RB 4160V Pro Tech round baler wrapper combination. For a telehandler, we have a universal bucket and a bale fork. And then we have a 3,300 kilogram and 2,300 kilogram front weight. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, you will see that we do not have any custom vehicles or implements that are a part of this map. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting farm area. This is exactly where we load in when we load in for the very first time at the main starting farm. We have our sleep and wardrobe triggers here at the farmhouse. And while we can sell the farmhouse and we can sell some of the buildings here on the starting farm, it's kind of a mix and match as to what you can and cannot sell. So we can sell the farmhouse. We cannot, at least I couldn't get rid of any of the deco elements here at this farm or any of the other farms for that fact. We can get rid of the greenhouse and we can get some of these buildings, but again, not all of them. We got our farmhouse. We have fuel storage. We have our maintenance workshop trigger here. We have our chicken coop. 30 chickens in this area. And again, we have our new chickens. So we have chicks, chickens, ducklings, ducks. Let's go ahead and buy one of these. We have our food trough. Then we have our egg spawn point located right there. This is one of the buildings that are permanently part of the map. Regardless if we own it, we're not going to be able to get rid of these older style buildings. We will be able to get rid of these silage bunkers, these covered silage bunkers. If we walk into these, we should see our silage trigger pop up. Indeed it does, for both of those. We have our cow barn here, 500 cows in total. And again, we have our new cows, so we have calves, heifers, we have bulls, and the like. Here we have our slurry trigger. Sorry, I was on here trying to say silage for some reason. We have our manure pickup. This is going to be our dump point for our straw, most likely. We have storage for liquid fertilizer located right here. We have our farm silo, so we're dump and fill point. We have our milk trigger. With a water fill point. So we have our cows, our chickens, and we don't see our sheep. I am honestly thinking this is supposed to be our sheep pen. Let me come back over to this building. I'm believing this is supposed to be our sheep pen. But again, remember we had that error in the log. So again, this is likely where sheep and goats are supposed to be. But this map most likely will need an update. Let's go ahead and take a look at our build mode with respect to sheds. We do have some sheds that are part of the required mods. In addition, we're going to find that we do have some silos and other items that are a part of the map as well. Under productions, we should be set up with all the base game productions and such. Greenhouses, orchards, and generators. These are animal areas, so we have a modified cow pasture that's going to hold 200 cows, the open modified cow pasture. We have a placeable horse pasture that's set up for 8. Here we have the sheep pasture that is set up for 100 sheep. A placeable pasture, but yeah, I think the way this is definitely set up, I think that is supposed to be the sheep pasture built into the map, but again, it's not fully loading because of maybe some errors. Deco elements, fairly standard. We do have some landscaping textures. Let's go ahead and see about painting those down here. We have our animal mud. We have asphalt, concrete, dirt, forest ground, grass, dry grass, gravel, rock, and granite. It would be nice to see this brushed concrete, the ability to paint those down. It is nice to see the ability to paint all the textures that are available on the map. So if you are kind of building out your own area, you can also blend that into what currently exists. Then we have fairly standard plants and trees. So we're just checking to see if these textures are using the new texturing technique that gives us that nice kind of 3D look to them. And so far we are seeing that where we expect to see that. It's always good to see. Let's get a little bit of altitude and kind of talk about the production that is built into this map. We have 3 production elements that are built into the map. We have a medium greenhouse, which we've already seen at the main starting farm here. We have a sawmill and a BGA. So we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. Right now we are kind of looking off to the northwest corner. You see where the map boundary is right here, given our height. If we go ahead and continue to rotate around, you can see this is very much a UK themed map. And to that extent, I have tested these hedges They do not appear to have any collisions, but you will notice that we do have some utility lines running through these fields. The utility lines that I have tested do indeed have collisions, so you will be needing to work around those, or AI will also be working around those as well. So you can see we run right into those. We don't fly through them like we would, say, a hedge that has no collision. So we just go straight through that. Let's go and, before we go and forget, let's go and check our animal food overview screen. So we can see now with this screen what our animals are going to require as far as food. Total mixed rations, silage, sugar beet cut, or lettuce. Then we have hay and alfalfa hay for the hay category. Grass is going to be accepting grass or alfalfa hay. And cows are set up for protein for sunflowers and corn. Sheep are going to be set up for total mixed rations, hay, alfalfa hay, or silage. And then grass or alfalfa hay as far as the grass goes. Pigs are set up with corn, sorghum, silage, total mixed rations, or pig food as their base. Grain is going to be barley, oat, pig food, and wheat. Then we have our root crops: potatoes, sugar beet cut, lettuce, tomatoes, carrots, parsnips, red beets, or pig food. And then for our protein, we have soybeans, canola, sunflower, and pig food. For our horses, we have TMR, hay, alfalfa hay, and silage. For the hay category, grass is going to either be grass or alfalfa hay. Base food is going to be oat, sorghum, corn, or strawberries. Then our root crops are going to be carrots, parsnips, and red beets. And then for our chickens, well, we're going to be able to feed chickens either wheat, barley, corn, sorghum, sunflowers, potatoes, lettuce, tomatoes, sugar beet cut, total mixed rations, silage, or strawberries. So quite the unique animal food requirements for this map. To the northeast, we have a large forest, and deep within that forest, we have the sawmill. So you see that down below. For the most part, the southern part of the map, really we have just a few hot spots down there. We have an animal dealer and a few odd sell points. We're going to take our way down there. Looking across to the western side of the map. With respect to the ability to sell all our base game crops, animal outputs, and productions, we are going to give the map a full point there as well. And we're going to start taking off points here with the next category, which is going to be, can the farms be customizable? Now, I do know that people have told me that in the UK, typically farmers are not allowed to make changes to the land they own. In fact, it sounds like in the UK, maybe lots of landowners are pretty much stuck with exactly what they got because most of it is classified as historical. Well, regardless, we do look to see if a player can customize the farm area just in case, you know, they want to make tweaks, because this is a game after all. If they don't enjoy the farm layout, then they should have the right as a game to make those changes. About a third of the buildings on the main starting farm are deletable, and therefore you could modify things around, but 2/3 of the farm and the deco is permanently embedded. The other farms, most of the buildings are permanently embedded, so we are going to be giving the map just 1/4 of a point with respect to can the farms be customizable. Down here we have our animal dealer. We do have static cowls down here. Would have been nice to have seen these to have some animated animals. And then we also have a sell point down here. And possibly buy points for bulk products. Making our way over here, we have another sell point for our bales and such. And directly behind that, we do have a sheep pasture. So we have lambs, sheep, rams, and goats. And then we have our food trough, our water trough, and our spawn point for wool. I do not believe that this particular animal pen is set up for milk, but we can quickly check that. Nope, it is not set up for milk. In fact, this is mistaken. This is the sheep pasture that is tied to the starting farm. It is not the building up there at the farm, although that really did look like it could have been a sheep pasture area. Just even on land we own. It is not. So oddly enough, we do not own this land, but we can still acquire sheep and make use of that. Over here we have the horse farm. We will need to buy the horse farm in order to make use of the horse pasture. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll go ahead and buy the pig farm that is located up here. Oh, this location, the only thing we can sell is the horse pasture building itself. Coming up the western edge of the map, we have the town area directly in front of us, which includes the biogas plant. We can sell the BGA buildings. We can also sell the large three-sided silage bunker and the scale that's over here to our right. What we cannot sell is the fencing and the deco buildings and structures over here to the left. We've got some sell points and bulk buy points. We have our vehicle dealer, which we will be coming back to here in a moment. We have a small pig farm located right here. Then we have the pub sell point. And that is pretty much the majority of this map from an eagle eye perspective. Let's go ahead and land down here at the dealer and take a look at these triggers, pick up our Mahindra, and then do some driving. So we have our dealer trigger right here at the front door. Let's go ahead and pick up that Mahindra. We'll see where our vehicles spawn in. They spawn in over there. Then we've got a defined dealer trigger located right here. Now, something you may notice is that we have some icons here at the dealer for vehicles. We've seen this come up from time to time on maps. These are legitimate, full, detailed vehicles. It says we have rented them, but we do not have the ability to enter them at all. They are supposedly used by us, rented by us, but we do not have the ability to make use of any of this stuff. And while I applaud decorating things like the dealer with vehicles, for console, this can impact slot count, which ultimately can then in turn, impact performance toward the end or in someone's gameplay. So here we have a deco piece of machinery, clearly a little bit lower resolution, lower poly count model. And then we've got our full fat models here. So we've got the Case IH baler, then we've got some New Holland tractors and such. So it is frustrating when I see these and players are not able to make use of them, because this is ultimately impacting for console your slot count, and potentially that then later goes and affects your overall performance of the map itself. Coming out of the dealer, let's go ahead and hang a left, and I am going to constantly be driving on the proper side of the road. But for this map, it's going to be the wrong side of the road. So we've got our grain sell point located here right by the vehicle dealer. And then we're going to have a buy point. This buy point is likely going to be for seed and fertilizer. So Buckland bulks. So we have seed, fertilizer, lime, manure here at these locations. If we bring in a liquid trailer, then we'll probably also get the ability to buy some liquid inputs. At our biogas plant, I guess we go in this way. We swing around to the scale. And then we have the BGA digestate point. We have our slurry dump point, our interactive icon. We have our dump point for our digester. Several deco buildings over here. And a large three-sided bunker for making silage here at the biogas plant. Again, you can sell the BGA if you wish. Then that will, as a result, allow you to place your own BGA down or do whatever you want really at that area. Let's make our way over to the hub sell point. It's located right here. Nice deco elements with the delivery vans and trucks and such. I just got a kick. I always get a kick out of the playground at the pub. It's just not something that you see every day. At least not in my area. My neck of the woods, well, we wouldn't have a pub, we'd have a bar, and, well, we wouldn't really have a playground out back. But, you know, that's fine. That's fine. We've got a cow pasture here at Farmland ID 41 or Field 21. So if you buy this, you're going to have your triggers for cows, 200 cows in here. We have our milk trigger. And we have our food and our water. Then here we have the small pig farm. We have fuel storage. Again, all of these buildings are pretty much permanently embedded in the map. $120 cows. We can do piglets. We can do boars, porkers, sows, all that fun stuff. We have our slurry point. We have our food trough. I have gone ahead and bought all of the farmlands just to see if we had any other animal pastures just kind of hanging out in grass meadows, and it looks like we do not have that case. So we came across the final animal pen that is pre-placed on the map. We're gonna make our way over here to our sawmill. With respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique as well as ground textures, we're going to be giving the map a half a point. And that is because a decent majority of the buildings that are placed on this map do not appear to be using the new technique. They appear to be some of the older style UK buildings that we have seen for a few different generations of farm sim. There's some buildings that are a bit older than that as well, scattered around at a couple of the placeable farms, or the pre-placed farms, I should say. So here we have our sawmill. We have our pallet spawn point for our pallets. We have our interactive icon, our wood chip fill point, as well as our wood cell point and our wood cell trigger. It is always nice to see the newer building textures. It can be quite a shock to have some of these lower quality texture buildings right next to some high quality texture buildings. It really does make those older style buildings really do stand out. Again, these roads, or these hedgerows, do not have collisions. I know that some players will appreciate that, while other players will maybe frown upon that. Kind of the flip goes also for those utility poles. Some people will look favorably on them having collisions, while others will not. It is nice to see that we do not have traffic down these really narrow side lanes. It appears like we have traffic on the main top thoroughfare. Let's see if we have traffic on the main road cutting across the southern side of the map. But on this artery connecting the northern road and the southern road, we don't have to worry about traffic, which is pretty darn good, given how narrow this is. So I don't believe we're going to have traffic on this road either, because again, it is fairly narrow. Here we have our bale cell point. So silage chase straw grass, possibly even cotton. Then again, behind that we have the sheep pasture that was part of the main farm, even though this was not on owned farmland. Continue southwest. We're going to come over here to the horse farm. And the horse farm is where we have kind of the most stark contrast between newer buildings, right? Newer buildings like this, where we have really well-defined grain on the wood and, you know, hinges, nails, and such. And we come over here to this pre-placed building, which is using some kind of older textures. And then we come over here to this building, which is really should just be retired and not show up again, or completely retextured and relive itself as a whole new building. Now, the only thing down here that can be sold is the horse pasture itself. 8 horses in here. Again, these have been set up for the new extended animals. Couple sheds. We've got a nice little riding area. And that is the horse farm. And now we'll make our way down to our animal dealer. We've already seen the animal dealer. And as we make our way down to the animal dealer, let's talk about our last scoring metric and give the map its final score. Trigger and interactive areas are clearly marked. I don't feel that they are hidden in any way. I did like to see the sheep pasture where we had the spawn point for the wool was clearly indicating we weren't trying to find trigger markers buried underneath grass. I like to see things like that. Makes it rather easy for the player to pick this map up and figure out where things are. Although again, I would suggest maybe waiting until this map does get updated because of a few of those errors that related to a generic selling point, as well as the sheep pasture had an error listed to it, and then all of the warnings related to the rye textures. It may be that the rye textures are fine, and those are just errant entries that relate to textures that are no longer in use. But if that's the case, well, then those entries probably should get cleaned up so they're just not spawning constantly for the player. Here we have our animal dealer. We are going to give the map a full point then with respect to trigger and interactive areas being clearly marked. And as such, that's going to give this map a score of 3.75 out of 5. The two main areas where we lost points are the hard codingness of the various farms, the player not being able to sell most of the things at the various farms, and then some of these building textures. If those could get updated, that would be great. But overall, if you don't mind how these textures look, then, you know, take my score for a grain of salt. That's why we try to cover each map as thoroughly as possible in our flyover and drive-thrus. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to Buckland Farm. Is this a map that you're looking forward to playing? Or you maybe want to hold out for the update to see what those errors and warnings maybe really mean once they get cleared up? And until next time, happy farming. Here we have another farm supply buy point. I guess I somehow missed that as we pass down to the animal dealer.